Hi, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Money with Alpha. I'm very excited because today I have the lovely Jo Goddard. Hi, Jo.
Hi, how you going?
Good, thank you. So Jo is just, if you're watching this on video, you'll just see her beautiful, lovely energy, very wonderful feminine energy, strong but feminine. And if you're listening, then I will just describe it to you. So, Joe, I met a few years ago through a mums and business networking group, and I've been to your events, and we've spoken, and you've come to my app launch earlier this year and supported me, which was lovely. But I wanted to delve a little bit more into the concept of wellness at sort of a deeper level because you do it in such a more sort of intimate way, but in a powerful way at the same time. And what you do is just beautiful, and you help so many women. So I'd like to sort of explain that and expand on it in today's conversation. So on that path, because there's so many facets to you, you do so every time we talk, I find out something a little bit new about you. So I'd love you to introduce yourself, please, and what is it that you do and why you do it.
Absolutely. And you know what? I'll probably even still leave some things out as well because yes, I am multifaceted in so many ways. But at the crux of everything I do, so I have founded I'm Her Women's Wellbeing, which is a wellness space which focuses predominantly on touch-based modalities. So I work as a body worker, but I'm also an energy healer, and I've niched into sacred sexological bodywork as well because I think it's really important to hold the whole woman. So there's no space for taboo in my world. It's all very, very welcome. There's no division. The full self is here. And then beyond that, like one-on-one space I do is I have a real passion for events and gathering community as well. So if you've been in Brisbane, soon maybe Melbourne, you may have also heard about braless brunches as well. So that was kind of my cheeky personality, taking what I do in those one-on-one spaces where I give women the space to exist exactly as they are, in the freedom, the expression of however their body is wanting to show up on that day and in that moment. I've now created a space for multiple women to gather and be in the collective energy of that beautiful permission piece and have a really high vibe, fun, cheeky, wear a bra, don't wear a bra, whatever event. So yeah, that's kind of me in a nutshell. But yeah, there's actually quite a lot of depth in it as well, which reveals itself over time when you're in my world. Yeah.
Yeah. So, because it's interesting because I love healing modalities. And to be honest, whenever there's anything that's going kind of wrong in my body, my first instinct is to go and go, oh, there's some emotion that's probably like blocked or stored somewhere. Um, and then the same thing kind of then in the money space as well. There's so much that we hold in our bodies. How do you find women kind of approach the idea? Because there's a lot of shame that kind of goes with our bodies as we grow. What have you found that's been, I suppose, the biggest shift that you see in women as they start to unlock their femininity and their acceptance of themselves and their body?
Gosh, there's so many ways to answer that because
The big
I
question.
actually see it move in seasons. And so
Yeah.
it's interesting. So at the moment, I'm holding space for a lot of women who are traversing some relationship shifts and changes. And so, um, the things that are landing for them are relative to those things. But if I was to kind of zoom out and go, okay, what is it that I do and how do I hold space? Every single woman that have had in my studio is in a season of transformation. So it's about holding, it's almost holding the person, but helping them hold their nervous system as
Hmm.
they're moving from one known into a new known, and the void feels really messy. So whether it's relationship, whether it's, even relocating into state, maybe children, moving into the teenage years and not understanding this new dynamic, and even them themselves, as we move through different seasons ourselves, a lot of midlife women are here as well. So yeah, just that period of transformation. I'm holding that space and reminding the women that they actually do have the capacity to hold themselves. So it's just kind of plugging that reminder back in for them as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and some of the modalities I wanted to ask you a bit more about, 'cause this is partly for my interests, and I'm sure there'll be listeners who'll want to know this too. So, Kahuna massage is one of the things that you do. What actually is it, and what's the, I guess, how is it different from just a regular massage?
Yeah, well, I guess there's lots of different massages out there. So if you think typically of like the remedial and the relaxation, you've got
Yeah,
a difference of like soft touch and deep touch.
yeah,
One is for the nervous system, and one is for treating ailments in the body, give or
yeah.
take, and they do cross over. Kahuna kind of sits in the middle. Kahuna is a Hawaiian modality whereby the touch is very intentional, very grounding. It's a lot of yang
Mhm.
energy. So I am holding you quite literally. Um, the touch technique itself, if you think of how a wave moves,
Mhm.
that's the stroke that's happening up and down the body with the forearms and with the elbows. It's
Mhm.
this never-ending wave-like motion, but you get oiled up both on your back and on your front. And so it becomes underbody as well. So you can imagine that there's one hand coming in, holding the diaphragm, one hand coming over the back and just holding you there. So it
Mhm.
really anchors you back into your body. It maps it maps how you're taking up space,
Mhm.
basically, and it puts you back into your body. Um, for me personally, I can't not see the sensual flow in Kahuna. So it's
Mhm.
not a sensual massage, but then again, we're all sensual beings. Like
Mhm.
and I'm not talking sexual, and yes, we are
No.
that too, but sensual, the parts of us that light up when the sun is bright and the warmth hits our skin, that loves to, breathe in the warm coffee, the parts of us that become alive when the sensory experiences are heightened.
Yeah.
Kahuna can remind you of that as well. And so when I hold space for this flow and this reconnection of the client back into their body, it's like this sensual remembrance lands as well. And so um, for me and the work I do, I can't not bring that in as well. So Kahuna can often reflect the practitioner and
Mhm.
where they are in their journey and ways in which they hold space. I
Yeah.
hold space in a really firm, nourishing way that also honors the fact that you are mind, body, spirit, and just this gorgeous sensual energy. It's my gateway drug. I call it my gateway drug because a lot of women look at my website and go, wow, I've landed in this space where I can actually properly relearn about my body. I can go and have the sex ed that I never actually got that I probably really needed. But that trust piece doesn't always land through a website. And so
No.
coming in for a beautiful modality like Kahuna, or I'm now certified in Lomi Lomi, which is another Hawaiian modality, but holds
Mhm.
the yin energy
Mhm.
more than the yang.
Okay.
Um, can come into that space. You can be held and touched and almost let your nervous system have a first date through touch with
Yeah.
me. And then if you want to deepen into some of the more intentionally sensual work that I offer, we can go on that journey. But a lot of women will come in for Kahuna, and then
Mm.
before they leave, they'll be like, well, actually, I saw on your website that you also do yoni massage. Can I learn more? So it's like it's this pathway in.
Yeah.
It's a really safe way for women to land in my space.
Yeah. So what's Lomi Lomi? I have heard of it, but I don't really know what it is.
Yeah, so Lomi Lomi is it's more about kneading. So the tangent of Lomi Lomi I am certified in is called Heartworks Lomi Lomi.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about honoring the heart channels in the body, which are also the lymphatic channels. So
Mm-hmm.
we can call it a lymphatic massage, but with the breath work that the practitioner, so myself, I'm doing, the
Yeah.
intention I'm holding, it's all about moving energy that's unstuck up towards the heart so that you can really start to feel into what needs to shift. And maybe that
Mm.
happens on the table. Maybe that happens for you over the course of the next, few hours or few days. But
Yeah.
it's really intentionally following the heart lines of the body. So instead of forearms and elbows, it's hands and thumbs,
Okay.
basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it even though it's spicy, if there's stagnation in the lymphatic system, it will be a bit spicy.
Yeah.
It's more of that yin, that feminine hold,
Yeah.
than the yang, which is the more masculine, I've got you, surrender into me, hold
Yeah.
of the kahuna.
Right. Well, it's very physical for you as a practitioner, like holding people.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Don't ask me to go for a run, I'll die, but I can lift you and hold you and quite literally spin you on the table if I need to.
Oh my goodness. It sounds amazing. But it's really interesting. Before we hit record, I was sort of talking about how like in this day and age, it's everything is digital. We can do all the virtuals, the artificials. There's all these words that have kind of come into our vernacular. And it's sort of replaced that sort of human interaction a bit. I mean, there's still happen, it still happens and it's still absolutely vital. But if we think back to our childhood, kids are very tactile. They want to touch everything. And then the amount of times you hear someone say, "Oh, don't touch that. Don't touch that." So as we grow, we kind of get out of this like touching kind of thing. But as we are, as a grown up, that sense is still extremely important, but it's been subdued. So I think it comes back almost with a vengeance. And the work that you do really like helps people explore that because sensory it's so much more than just oh, see things or I hear things. Like you touch things, you smell things, you have that like just general feeling in your body. And I think it's important to reconnect to that because once you start to reconnect to it, your body, you can start to then process all of the stuff that we store in our bodies as well. I went for a sound bath on the weekend and at some point, I just started crying. I was like, oh, I don't even know really what I'm crying about. And then it came up for me why I was crying. And I was like, oh my goodness, I've been holding this since I was 11 was when it
Mm.
actually started in that way. Do you find that happens with your clients when they're on the table? They start to like maybe just like emotions come up or they sigh deeply or they start crying. Does that sort of thing happen?
Yes, I've seen it all. Even the uncontrollable giggles, like it's all
Yeah.
so welcome, and you don't need
Yeah.
to know why the body's responding, how it needs to respond.
Yeah.
But I do find with Kahuna, because of the underbody work and the holding, I
Mm,
often feel like I'm bringing, even though I've referred to it as like a yang energy, I actually feel like in those moments I'm bringing this maternal energy through, like
yeah.
holding it. And a lot
Mm,
of women in particular who maybe they've lost their mother or that there's a bit of a bumpy relationship with their mother, the parts of them that might be able to rationalize why they don't, gel very well, there's still parts of them that deeply crave a nourishing, nurturing mother's hold.
yeah.
And so that can be really activating and heart opening for the clients on the table.
Yeah.
Um, in recent, like I said before, things kind of move in season. So one of the things that I'm kind of noticing in my clients at the moment is suppressed rage that's coming through and moving through. And it still comes through as tears
Yeah.
because a lot of the time women process their rage and that suppression of it when it actually has time to move, it moves as tears. And there's often a layer of grief attached to it as well because of all the ways they haven't allowed themselves to feel it.
Yeah.
And yeah, so there's a lot that can happen on the table. But it was interesting when you were referring to how important touch is. I still come across people because I do a bit of corporate massage as well, where I just pop in and heads and shoulders, knees and toes, no,
Mm,
knees and toes. And sometimes clients will kind of, well, not even clients, they'll look past and go, oh, that's where the massage is happening today. I'm not, I don't like touch, but okay, that's curious. And it's so interesting when I come across people who say they don't like touch or touch isn't their love language. My curious question, and sometimes I ask it, and sometimes I'm just left with the curiosity is going, at what point did touch become unsafe for you? Because touch is actually
mm,
not a love language, it's a survival language.
mm.
It's how we know we belong. It's how we know that we are safe.
Yeah.
It's the mum's hold as soon as you're born, right?
Yeah.
It's yeah. So touch is so important and touch-based therapies, if you are journeying through trying to rebuild trust and safety within your own nervous system,
Yeah.
leaning into a touch-based modality can be really transformational because if you feel the resistance for it, it's actually probably not about the touch itself. It's about where and why are you not feeling safe, nurtured? Where has something shifted in your world where you feel like it's unsafe to be touched or yeah. So That's been a really curious little kind of tangent to follow and lean into instead of like, oh, that's all right. Some people don't like touch. Off you go.
Yeah.
That curious thread of, okay, well, what the safety and the trust piece, what's actually that? And
Yeah.
that creates a bit of a shift and a softening there as well.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's interesting. Yeah, it's I think there's more awareness around physical safety and the touch part of it, and it's still so prevalent that there's a lot of women who still aren't physically safe. And then the touch piece that goes with that, it just creates all sorts of memories and trauma that comes back at the idea of being touched. I had a friend once who she doesn't like water on her face. It's like, oh my God, I love just sitting under we've got a waterfall with our pool. I just love sitting there and having the water like wash over my face. Like for me, that's beautiful. And then you sort of like, well, wonder what happened that,
Mm,
something like that, maybe there was a bit of a drowning kind of incident as a child that they've forgotten about that's created the trauma. But touch is vital as humans, but it can be used negatively. Like I remember for a long time, I didn't like being touched by a man because my dad used to put his hand on the back of my neck when I was a kid, and it was like this possession thing. And even now, just thinking about it gives me goosebumps. And it used to just be this thing which I was like, and I had to work through that, going, oh my gosh, there was this like being, and one of my things, I don't like being controlled. So having that, I was like, oh, but I'd always find with massage. So I used to have massages a lot when I was a kid because I ice skated, and these were sports massages. So it's interesting the different types of touch that we assign different meanings to and the different parts of our body. But I think having that safe space to be able to go down those paths and work through it is so incredibly valuable.
absolutely.
Uh,
Even the mothers that come
yeah,
in, because I've experienced this too, where you feel like you're touched out, almost
yeah,
like you're overstimulated.
yeah,
And the thing that actually gets triggered is not so much the touch with your kid, it's about the it's almost a consent piece, which you might think is
mm,
funny to be like, why do I have to give my kids consent to touch me? But it's
mm,
like as mothers, we have this kind of imprint that says, give all of yourself to them, and therefore you
mm,
don't matter anymore. So if they
yeah,
want to touch you, if they want to hug you, if they want to come in, yada yada yada, rather than feeling like you've actually got an active choice in that.
yeah,
And so yeah, one of the processes that I do with some clients is remind them that this session here is just about them
mm,
receiving. Like just there's nothing. They might feel really good in their body, fantastic. Nobody's going to want something from them. There's no expectation. This is purely just about receivership. And it's actually really interesting um, how many women, mothers in particular, will say, wow, I can't remember the last time I've just received touch for the purpose of I want to receive touch
mm,
and I don't have to give something back or it's not coming at me uninvited or unexpectedly.
yeah,
Um, yeah, so it's
mm,
interesting. It's not just, oh, something must have happened in their childhood or something
mm,
must be going on, behind closed doors. It can just be we've got this imprint through our mother lineage,
yeah,
and through the role models in our lives that's like you give all of yourself, you become a shell.
mm,
And
yeah.
it's yeah, that's enough. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that is I mean, I've only got one child, so I don't have that thrown at me a lot, but I do have that from a attention and an emotions perspective. It's like this constant, like request for, well, not even request, it's like this constant interruption and the demand for either attention or feedback or validation or whatever it happens to be. And I think when that kind of thing compounds over time, that builds up into rage potentially. And I had to chuckle at the word that you used because that was literally the word that came into my head during that sound bath on Sunday, and sort of stored in my body, and then it did come out as tears. But yes, I think it's so many facets to us humans, and I think the experience that you have is just it's beautiful. Um,
Yes. Yeah.
and so with like business owners in particular, because there's, especially if they're mothers too, and they're, partners or going through relationship breakdowns and all of that. What's I suppose there's some patterns that you're seeing in that space, because obviously at the moment with things happening, we read about stuff in the economy and all of the information that's sort of thrown our way. Are you seeing anything that's kind of concerning, or is positive as well? Like, we always tend to focus on the negative, but there can be some positive patterns as well. What are you starting to
Yeah.
see?
For me, particularly as a business owner, I'm not seeing a pattern of less. I'm actually seeing more people come towards me. And I think what that means is that people are being more discerning
Hmm.
with how they spend. And so the people who are now coming and working with me are not just inquiries. They're ready to
Yeah.
take the action because they know that every dollar counts and they want to spend wisely. And it's
Mm.
really beautiful to see that it for a lot of the people who are, I've got enough inquiries where it's like, okay, people aren't just focusing on fuel, groceries, and squirreling away the rest. They're really valuing themselves as an investment piece. So even though the economy is bad or whatever the story is we want to create and hold,
Mm.
the discernment piece is that people are still prioritizing, or probably even more so prioritizing themselves and their
Yeah.
longevity and the vitality. And so the inquiries I'm getting aren't just like, oh, I'd like to get a massage with you. What's your prices? It's like, hi, I was referred. Can I have your booking link? Like, da 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 da.
Let's do it.
Um, yeah, and so it's really beautiful to see that the actions are there.
Yeah.
So yeah, personally, no. And this happened to me in COVID as well. I had my best year in business ever during the
Mm.
COVID year.
Mm.
Um, and that's a reflection of a lot of my own personal values as well, and how I, was still wanting to show up and be available to nurture others.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I'm not seeing. It's so interesting. I can be in like group chats with other massage therapists where they're like, oh, I've had a quiet week. Is anybody else feeling this? And everyone's like, oh yes, it's the sign of the times and blah blah
Mm.
blah. And I do see it in some spaces, like some of the events I've tried to put together, that it's just really small numbers.
Mm.
Um, but at the same time, people coming in my door for the services I offer, it's feeling really quite abundant to the point where I'm
Mm.
even repackaging and upping my prices. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's actually
Yeah.
yeah, it's so interesting. Yeah, it's the story happening collectively out there, but if I just look at what's happening here, I'm not
Yeah.
seeing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's really, really important, because it becomes your story and your perspective. And this is so much, I mean, we hear the concept of mindset when it comes to money all the time, but it is fundamentally your stories and your beliefs and what you personally and how you see life. Like, I think discernment, it was a very good word, because, and that concept of longevity as well, and the value that we're placing in ourselves. And because you embody all of that as well, you're like, this is more than just, you're not just going to get a massage. This isn't just a tick and flick exercise, like self-care done. This is way more than that. It's healing at a deeper level, and it's nourishment at a human level as well. So I think when you value what you do to such a deep extent, and you believe in it so utterly and completely, I think that then flows out, that energy then expands around you. And from an expansive perspective, you've got plans of how you want to grow and expand that energy, because I think that energy is more needed in this world. I don't
Yeah.
think we ever progressed as a human race by contraction, whether
Yeah.
it's our thoughts or our level of abundance or our level of love, like all of those beautiful things and aspects of our humanity. If they expand, that's what then, and then that part of that expansion is to bring others and to hold others, and to not to just squirrel things away and hang on to them. So I think that's a beautiful perspective.
Yeah, and I want to just bring into the conversation something that's really prevalent in the well-being space is this concept of doing exchanges. I'll
Right.
massage you if you massage me, and that's how
Yeah.
we'll call it paid for. And
Mm.
there's absolutely a time and space for that. But what I've come to realize is that doesn't create the ripple effect. So if we actually want to be in business for more than just food on the table, if we want to create an impact,
Yeah.
this concept of energy exchanges might be something that comes after you've built the thing. Like build the platform, build the financial abundance, and then look at
Mhm.
exchanges. Because I've done it the wrong way around, quote unquote. Um, and I had this lady, a client here this week, her husband wants to start a mowing business.
Mhm.
And I was like, excellent. I would love to know when he's up and running because sometimes I can't stay on top of it. And she's like, oh, that'd be awesome. And then maybe like he mows for you and you just give him a massage because he's been meaning to come back for a massage and hasn't made it work. And I was like, you know what? I'd actually like to pay him because he could be here mowing while I'm working with a client. So
Mhm.
I'm in my zone of genius supporting a woman who's going to leave here different to how she arrived. She's going to move into the world and create whatever ripple effect there that way. He's going
Mhm.
to be here mowing, holding space for things I can't get to. I'm going to pay him. He's going to move that forward in
Mhm.
another way as well. So, and
Yeah.
maybe that means he can upgrade his equipment and that serves more people. So I
Yeah.
actually want to be in the exchange of, and it's not about money. I want to be in the exchange of the ripple effect and the moreness for everyone involved. If it was just him mowing and me massaging and that was it done,
Yeah.
it might feel like, oh, it's so lovely to do things outside of the money, and there's other ways to exchange energy and
Yeah.
barter. And yes, there is, but actually look at the flow of that. Does
Yeah.
it take you anywhere?
Yeah.
Quite often, no.
No.
And I had a lady this morning go, I want to like hire a space for coming in and being a massage therapist when I come into Brisbane and see my local clients. And I'm like, cool. And she's like, oh, but at the moment, I don't have the funds to really pay for hire. Could I just massage you while I'm there? I'm like, thanks. Like I have a lot of places I already go to for my own
Yeah.
self-care. I don't need one more. Occasionally I might say yes. But actually, if you're hiring the space and you want to use my massage studio, it's a financial exchange because I can do more with that.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
but that was a shift place. I didn't used to think like that. I used to
Yeah.
think, oh, how lovely. I'd get free Reiki if I did Reiki for this person. And it, it actually locks up
Yeah.
where and how far you can create the exchange because there's only so many times I wanted to have a Reiki session in a week.
Yeah. And
Like,
it does, and it changes the value exchange because what you're providing might be more valuable than what they're providing, or vice versa. And then there's a certain level of resentment that sits there. And we also attach more value to things that we actually have paid for as well. And then, like you said, that money exchange, that can then be used for other things. So the ripple effect is bigger and lasts longer as well.
yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, but then there is one I am entertaining, which is a photographer.
Yeah.
I want to upgrade family photos. She
Hmm.
wants to work with a body worker for a few months to support. And I'm like, well, she can serve more people if she's feeling better in her body. And
Yeah.
I'm going to get some photos, which I want to do anyway, and display. So there are times where, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a yes, we'll do the exchange. But
Yeah.
yeah,
But if
it's
it's something that you've both been seeking, like you were seeking a photographer, she was seeking bodywork, and then you're exchanging as part of that, rather than somebody coming to you where you're not seeking it, but they want something,
yeah.
then the exchange is imbalanced because it's just you just kind of agreeing to something because they need it or they want it that way. Whereas if it's two people coming in wanting it, I think it's also a very different energy.
Mm,
But it's seeing it in that way that's important rather than just kind of going, oh well, I can't afford it, so I'm going to do blah. It's like, all right, well, why? What is it in my energy that's saying I can't afford it? And quite often, I've seen so many people afford things that they can't afford the thing that they need, but they can afford the thing that they want. I was like,
yes.
this isn't an affording thing at all. This is just a priority thing. So we will always find the money and the time to do the things that are priorities for us,
Yeah,
whether they're good for us or not.
absolutely.
So yeah, no, very, very important distinctions. So what sort of like I guess because there was a money story that you've had to overcome there. How did money sort of show up for you as a kid? Like how were your parents with money?
Um, really comfortable. So looking at it through the lens of the kid,
Yeah.
I wanted for nothing. We had a very spacious home on acreage. We would holiday in the Sheratons and whatnot. Um, but it was really interesting when my parents separated how much of money seemed to be a reason for that breakdown. So
Hmm.
I didn't really feel it in my childhood because childhood just felt good.
Hmm.
Um, but noticing how much money became a tool for manipulation. So this is kind of in my teen years,
Yeah.
manipulation for you know, like kind of trying to weaponize it between parents, judgments and stuff like
Yeah.
it's interesting when you sit between two worlds, you
Yeah.
know, them one parent trying to look into the life of the other parent through you,
Yeah.
and then hear their judgments about things.
Mm.
Um, but I was always encouraged, like I was always to earn pocket money. I had this moment. So when my parents separated and they then moved from the one family home into the two separate houses, quite often I would earn pocket money, but I wouldn't be given the money. So we had this book where we just kind of accrued our
Right.
balance.
Okay.
And then when we moved house, that book got lost. And I had like 200 and something dollars owed to me. That's a lot of car washes, I'll say to you, when you're getting paid
Hmm.
$4 to wash a Land Cruiser.
Uh,
Um, and it
yeah.
just got lost. And that I remember that hitting really hard because
Mm.
it was never paid. It just had to
Right.
be written off. And I was like, ouch.
That's a
That
broken agreement.
yeah, broken
Mm.
agreement. And then the because I I like to dream, you know. I had a goal for a discman.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember them. Yeah.
Yep. So it wasn't just, oh, the money is gone, the dream is gone.
Yeah.
You know, and so all the things that money and abundance allows us to kind of feel into the possibility of,
Yeah.
um, that's what got taken away. And yeah, so
Mm.
that was really interesting. But as soon as I could get a job, I got a job. So I was, you know, working at a Chinese restaurant. So I've always had money earning as something pretty central to what I'm doing and factoring in with how I allocate my time.
Yes.
Um, yeah, and my
Yeah.
parents would often, you know, when I went to university, I could live with them if I paid board like $50 a week or
Mm.
um yeah, there was kind of it started to become this, we will support you if you do this thing. So if you study and you do well, then we will finance your life a little bit. So then it started to
Yeah.
become this exchange tool as well. So it's kind
Yeah.
of like
With
always having
conditions.
to work with it or work around it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting how it does get weaponized or used. I watched that with my
Mm.
parents' divorce as well, and even my dad with me. There was always conditions on it, so I was like, all right, yep, very, very learnt very early on. Financial independence is is
Yeah.
the way to go.
Yeah, and my younger sister is 10 years younger than me, so it was really interesting as well watching her have a very different
Hmm.
experience. So my mum would be like, "Oh, well if and I'm over. So if mum or my sister are listening, yes, I'm over. I'm over generalizing, but through the lens of another child who had a slightly different dynamic, it was like, oh, mum will give everything if my sister will just stay home, like
Yeah,
you know, and stay in the nest. So instead of going and living with dad or going between, or if you stay here, you know, you don't have to worry about it, or you can have access to the car, or just
hmm,
then used as a tool to keep and stay and how yeah.
yeah,
And that was seasons of life ago, so everything's shifted again. But it
yes,
was really interesting. Yeah,
yeah,
one of the ways felt like, well, I guess it was me. It felt like it pushed me out because I didn't like the way it was controlling and manipulating. And
yeah,
then through an like outsider's perspective, it looked like it was a way to keep and hold, and you
yeah.
don't have to do anything. It's all taken care of for you.
Mm. Yeah, you get rewarded if you play the game, and then you're on the out if you don't.
Yeah.
So it's not even an all or nothing. It's either an all or less than nothing kind of
Yeah. And
situation.
it's
And then
so
the emotions.
interesting how like you learn from your parents, but sometimes you learn and you lean in or you learn and you run away. Like it's still the same learning. So
Yes.
um like my dad's always been a hoarder of things he might use sometime. You know, that
Yeah.
piece of wood, I might have a use for that in 20 years.
Yeah.
And it does pay off into my advantage. I'd be like, hey dad, do you happen to have?
Yeah.
Um, but then I saw how much like if he ever wants to move in life, how much he has to take with him.
Mm. Yeah.
And so
Baggage.
I'm like, I don't need to hold on to things. If I need them, I'll just go get them. If I need it again, but I got rid of it, oh well. Like,
Yeah.
so it's interesting how a lot of some of the things I'm not doing is still from the same lesson. I could easily have copied the pattern, but it's still the same lesson. And then the choice piece arrived, and I'm like, no,
Yeah. But
because of
there's
that, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, but there's awareness, and that's the key. Like you're aware of all of the situations, you're aware of the two different choices you could make, and you're consciously making it, and you're being deliberate in
Oh,
the
I'm pretty sure in the
choices.
moment it was actually my rebellion, to be honest with you.
Now you're
And
aware,
now
though,
I'm just justifying my rebellion with awareness.
right? Well, yeah, there's logic to both sides of that equation. Uh, but no, I think now it's more. I mean, when you're looking back, then there's always that kind of we try to, I guess, justify to a certain extent, or at least understand. And then the awareness piece that that creates also then allows us to be more intentional with our going forward decisions as well, or at least aware of where we're deviating from what it is that we actually
Mm.
want. But yeah,
Yeah, and even reflecting back, so obviously I know you know, but the listeners probably don't know. I've been through my own journey of marriage separation as well. And so
yeah,
holding space for my kids,
yeah,
knowing that the dynamic in my home is very different to the dynamic in their dad's home, and but still remembering how much that those two different dynamics were tools for the manipulation and for the judgment passing through and how much I
mm,
don't want to recreate that. So
yeah,
it's really interesting parenting my kids and kind of almost doing it. Sometimes I feel like I'm their peer, not their parent,
mm,
because they'll be like, but dad does it this way, or you do it different to dad. I'm like, cool. So all that's happening is you're being given choice. Like
yeah,
you now have two examples of how to do things. So
yeah,
now you just figure out the ways that work for you. I'm not
yeah,
responsible if you choose mine or you choose his, but just know what you choose. And
yeah.
yeah, so that's been really cool is to kind of from my own journey go,
Yes.
well, what is the lesson I want to impart? It's not that mum does it better or dad does it better or blah, blah, blah. It's actually
Yeah.
like, how cool.
Yeah.
You are living in an environment where two different ways and two different perspectives are gifted to you constantly. So,
Yeah.
feel into what's right for you. Try it on for size. Figure it out
Yeah.
for yourself. Yeah.
And that's a great way of framing it too, because it takes the judgment away. And I think we've got a lot of judgment in this world, self-judgment as well as judgment of others and all of that. So I think having perspectives and then the choice that comes with that, and being intentional about that choice is a really good lesson. So
Mm.
and it's karma for you as a parent as well, because it's kind of I'm not buying into, if they do it differently, okay, that's fine. That's just the way they do it.
Yeah, and it
Right.
means that if I do have questions about why they're doing things, they have more ability to explain it to me because they were given the ability to choose it for themselves. And so they
Yeah.
can rationalize it rather than I
Yeah.
was just told to do it that way
Yes.
or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's no longer, it's not just, life's not just happening to me.
Mm.
I'm making my life. Yeah. Oh, that's really exciting. Um, I'm going to have to start to wrap us up because we could just keep on talking. There's so many things. There's like so much wisdom in you. Like so what's coming for you? Like how can people connect with you? What would you like to impart, I suppose, in your final words?
Well, yes, people can follow me if they just search for I'm Her Women's Wellbeing, and that's the letters IMHER, not
Yeah.
IAM. And you can just find me everywhere. But yeah, what do I want to impart? I guess if any of anything I've shared or any of the conversation that we've had has create a little niggle of curiosity or made you want to kind of lean in. If you are finding that you are somebody who is wanting to prioritize wealth in this current economic climate, I'm absolutely here for that. So please reach out. You're very, very welcome in this space. And I'm also building more. So
Hmm.
I'm wanting to create more of a hub. I want to move into multi-practitioner spaces. I can do one client at a time and I can build community and gathering in my more open planning areas, but I want to grow. So if anyone's
Yeah.
listening and wants to curiously, maybe grow with me or come and be part of the hub journey, have a conversation. I don't know. If you want to be in the curious, messy start of the next phase, please reach out as well because it doesn't stop here and I'm
Mm.
calling in the more.
Yay, I love it. Oh, I'm so excited for you. We'll put links in the show notes so that if you happen to be driving or you didn't quite capture any of that, then you can just go and click links and discover a bit more about Jo for yourself. I'm going to be going down that path because I'm very excited. So thank you so much for coming on and sharing your beautiful wisdom and
Thank you,
being the
Elle.
light worker that you are. And yes, everyone, I hope you had a lovely experience for today's episode and have a great week. And I'll catch you in the next episode.